we are entering the adult section of our course, so we're going to start by talking about relationships in adulthood. This is chapter 11 in your book. So first we're going to talk about friendships. We discussed friendship before in childhood and adolescence, but what does it mean for adults? The definition of friendship. A mutual relationship in which those involved influence each other's behaviors and beliefs. So friendship quality is just the satisfaction derived from the relationship. It's based mostly on feelings. It's grounded in an idea of reciprocity, which means if you do something for someone, they'll do something back. And you're choosing to spend time with them. It's less emotionally intense and it involves less sexual energy or physical contact than love relationships do. But having good friendships boosts self-esteem and happiness. It's really important for adults to have friends. So friendship goes through stages, and the way you can remember these stages is just A, B, C, D, E. Okay? It starts with acquaintanceship, you're just meeting each other. Then it's build up. The friendship is starting to grow as you start to learn more about each other. Then it enters continuation. So this is just when you're friends, you know enough about each other, and you're just continuing the friendship. You just continue to do things with each other, continue to talk to each other. Then friendship enters the deterioration stage, sometimes, not always, where that friendship just starts to fade. Maybe you talk to each other less, spend less time together. And then finally, E, it ends, the ending of the friendship. And these are natural stages of friendship, and friendships tend to go through these cycles. So why is friendship important in adulthood? Life transitions usually result in very few friends, at least at first. Young adults have more friends than older adults. Life satisfaction is strongly related to the quality and quantity of contact with friends, which means we are just happier overall when we have a lot of contact with our friends, and with that contact, when that contact is quality. College students with a strong network of friends adjust to stressful events better. These networks can be in person or online. We just need people that we can talk to, and it helps us handle our stress. So online friendships, are they the same as physical friendships? The development of social network sites did and still does raise concerns that adult friendships are going to decline in quality. You hear it a lot. People say don't spend so much time online, those friends just aren't as good. And it will hurt your regular friendships, your face-to-face friendships. But in-depth interactions online are replaced by quick emails or posts. Okay, so instead of sitting down and talking to each other for a long period of time and going to a lot in depth, we tend to just post back and forth and do these really shallow emails. So what do you think? Are online friendships worse than in-face friendships, person friendships? Well, research shows that quality of adult friends is good and improving, and this improvement is regardless of internet use. So people who use the internet a lot and people who don't are still having quality adult friendships. Heavy internet users have the most friends, both online and offline. A study in Australia found that Facebook users are positive about their online friendship activity. So they do like to have online friends, and people seem to get satisfaction from their online friendships. However, defriending may bring feelings of shame, humiliation, or unworthiness. We don't like it when someone defriends us on our social media pages. Trust is important to online friendships since you're missing the visual cues. Since you're not talking face to face, you don't get the facial expressions, you don't get body language, you don't get tone of voice. All you're getting is the text. So it's important that you can trust each other and kind of figure out what each other are meaning. Online interactions might help people who are normally shy or have social anxiety have friends and have someone to talk to and get along with. Online friendships seem to go through the same stages as traditional ones. So most research has shown that online friendships are very similar to face-to-face friendships, and that they can bring as much satisfaction. So maybe they're important too, and they're not declining our quality of friendships. What about cross-sex friendships? Can men and women be friends? Men and women do tend to have different friendships. Friendship among women is usually based on intimate and emotional sharing. They use their friendship to confide in each other, and they usually talk about a lot of intimate details about their life and go in a lot into depth. They sit around and talk to each other and share feelings. Men, however, tend to base their friendships on shared activities and interests. They're less intimate, they spend less time talking, they they tend to spend time doing stuff together. And they have a small number of friends with close personal relationships. So cross-sex friendships, men and women being friends with each other, are beneficial, especially for men. It's shown that men who have women who are friends have lower levels of dating anxiety and higher capacity for emotional intimacy. And this pattern holds across ethnic groups. So it seems like having a friend of the opposite sex can be really valuable for us, especially for men. And this can cause problems as a result of misperception from third parties like spouses or significant others if they are jealous of the cross-sex friend. Maintaining these relationships is a lot harder once individuals enter committed relationships because of the jealousy issue. So this might be a good discussion question. Can men and women be friends? Is it valuable? So next we're going to talk about love relationships. Before we talk about those, being single. More and more men and women are choosing to remain single. Traditional views of adulthood are that you should find a partner and have children. I'm sure you've all heard that. When you're going to get married, when you're going to have kids. But what about the people who choose to stay single? About 80% of men and 70% of women between the ages 20 and 24 are single, and increasing numbers are single because they are choosing to stay that way. They just don't want to be with someone else. So what are some of the effects of being single? In the US, there are many biases and stereotypes against single people. So maybe you get a discount on your car insurance if you are married. Some apartments don't want to rent to people who are single. There's a lot of biases out there. Married people are more likely to be characterized as kind, caring, and giving than single people are. They receive less compensation at work when you're single, even when other variables are counted for. Companies tend to pay married people more. Rental agencies prefer married couples. So I want you to think about why some of these biases exist, and I'll make that a discussion question on the forum. So what are some causes? Why are people choosing to remain single? Maybe they're focusing on establishing their career. Maybe they just haven't met the right person. The pressure to marry is really strong for women, but men tend to marry at a later age than women do, and fewer men remain unmarried throughout adulthood. Ethnic and cultural differences. Twice as many African American men remain single during young adulthood as European American men. More are choosing to do so. Singlehood is increasing for Latino Americans, even though Latino men are expected to marry. Singlehood is often tied to cultural and religious beliefs. In societies where the role of women is to be married, that's just their goal. You grow up and you get married. That's what the role of women is seen to be. Single women are marginalized. They're kind of pushed to the edge of society and seen as somehow inferior to married women. As education levels increase, the average age of marriage also increases individually and on a broader level. So this means that individuals who have higher level of education are more likely to wait to get married, maybe because they're finishing their education or for other factors. But it's also on a broader level. In countries that have higher average level of education, the average age of marrying is getting higher and higher. People who go to college are more likely to wait to get married, and that is making all of our ages get higher as more and more people go to college. So next is falling in love. So your book talks about this concept of assortive mating. This is just the theory stating that people find partners based on similarity to each other. And we talked about this in childhood. Friendships tend to look the same. People who are friends tend to be the same ethnicity, SES, education level, kind of the same personalities. We see that a lot in mates too. This includes many dimensions. It could be education, religion, intelligence, age, physical traits, SES. The idiom that opposites attract is not really supported by research. People tend to be attracted to people who are like them, and we tend to see couples who kind of look alike in these demographics. This is more common in Western cultures where people are free to select their own mates. People tend to pick other people who are like them. So where do people meet? Does the location where people meet matter? Does the place increase the chance or likelihood of forming a couple? According to some research, yes. Meeting in a school, like in college, is most likely to result in finding homogeny, which means finding someone like you. And specialized online environments can also facilitate this. So there are some places where it's just easier to meet someone like you and therefore someone you might be attracted to. So, online dating. Okay, this is not only for the shy or socially anxious. More and more people are trying online dating. 1 in 5 couples in the US meet online, 1 in 10 in Australia, 1 in 20 in the UK. It's becoming more and more common in all age groups. Young and middle-aged adults are the most likely to use it. Virtual dating sites do have both problems and possibilities. Decisions about pursuing someone online are similar to in-person interactions. First impressions tend to be based on physical attractiveness. More deliberate decisions are based on attractiveness as well as the self-described attributes, like in their personal profiles. People pay more attention to the physical appearance of women and the personal information of men. It's just how our society works. So the effect of culture on this. There are global patterns in mate selection and romantic relationships. This supports the idea of evolutionary theories of romantic attachments and human mating strategies. That means just all humans tend to do the same thing because we evolved to do that. Emotional investment in a relationship varies by culture, however. In cultures where there's good health care, good education, and resources that permit people to choose their own mates, romantic attachments are more secure. Cultural norms are very, very slow to change. Some countries still have arranged marriages, like in India or Muslim societies. There's pressure for this to change, but it is slow. It takes a really long time to change culture. Okay? We're going to pause here and we will continue in the next video.